purposes only. It's trivial, but I have to state it. I am in no way giving financial advice in the sense that you're taking it as investment advice. Don't take anything from this training as, oh, that ASA guy said I should go and take my money and put it in this particular thing. No. It's not a bad thing if you decide to invest in any of the instruments that we mentioned during this training. But as you will find out in the training, everyone is supposed to first of all determine their own personal investment goals. What are your finance goals? What are your own goals with money? It might seem like it is, it's the same thing, it's ubiquitous. Everybody should be thinking about money the same way, right? But no, we are all unique. The way we see money is different. The way we get money is different. What we want to spend money on, even our levels of ambition with money, they are all different. So you have to determine your own investment goals. So I can't say anything here that everybody here will take as like, yes, this is what I should do with my money next. Are we in agreement? Just a short disclaimer. Anipeloria. Secondly, what are the things that are out of scope of this discussion? We are not going to be talking within this particular session about starting a business. We are going to be drawing a demarcation or distinction between investing, using your money to generate money, and actually starting a business yourself that you're going to be involved in. Of course, there's nothing wrong with starting a business. But within the context of this particular session, we'll be talking about the tools with which you can invest your money, right? And what to understand when you go into such investments, the things to consider. Why would you choose this investment and other investment? When you're negotiating the terms of this investment, what are the aspects that you're going to really focus on? As our coordinator has said, this is like is a beginning in a series of such discussions. We can talk from now till tomorrow about things like the stock market. There's a lot to say about the stock market. That would take a whole session, a whole series of sessions. We can talk about how does the CBN determine what to do with their quantitative easing. That's how they produce money and release it, print money and release it into the market. That's a separate discussion. We can be here for days talking about that. This particular one is going to introduce you to some of the instruments that you, as an individual now, have access to within the Nigerian money market that you can invest in, and the things to consider when you are choosing which one to invest in. Let it be a free session. If you have any question at any point, just signify. I'll call upon you. You ask me. If I can answer, I will answer. If I can't, I'll give it to the class as homework. Hallelujah. All right. Also, outside of the scope is investing in illegality. I don't need to expand on that one. Betting, gambling, games of chance. Some would argue that betting or gambling, in and of itself, is it wrong? Is it a sin? The jury is out on that one, right? We won't go into that discussion. But within the scope of this session, we're not going to include such instruments of what some people would consider investing. It's not an investment to gamble. But some will say, yeah, you're taking a risk and you could get a return. Fine. In fact, I will go as far as telling you that I'm an actuary. The people who actually determine those odds with which people bet on all those gaming apps and everything, they're actually actuaries. There's a category of actuaries they call betting actuaries. So it's a valid thing if you are into that kind of stuff to invest. But of course, we know the downsides of engaging in such. So that's not part of the scope of what we are talking about. So let's move on. Any questions so far? One more caveat. We'll be talking a little bit about some mathematical terms. I can't explain financial intelligence or some aspects of finance and how to handle money without entering mathematics a little bit. I get scared when I hear mathematics. Let me see your hand. I have nightmares about mathematics. The last exam I wrote before I left school, I was thankful. I did a special testimony that I would never come across maths again. I chose my course in university because there's no maths inside. I dropped further maths as soon as I could. once I got the option. If I had the option, I'd have dropped general mathematics in secondary school. Hallelujah. Well, I'm not going to embark on a journey to make mathematicians of you. It's really not necessary. But there are some basic concepts that you would need to remember or recall some of those mathematical terms so that you can understand what we are saying. We'll get into some of them as we go on. Are we together? Any questions so far? All right. So the last thing is that as part of the instruments that we'll be discussing with respect to investment, in fact, let me give you this. Part of how this whole idea came about was that on numerous occasions, maybe one or two people, I think that there are like one or two people even here that have asked me like, if I want to invest this small money I have, are there vehicles that I can? It's small money. It's not up to so and so. It's not. We're not talking million. Where can I put this money? Do I have such investments? In fact, some people were like, there's no such place I can put money. And me, I'm like, no. There are these very accessible places that you can place your money. As long as you're okay with the return it's going to give you. The return might not be out of this world, might not be what will make you a billionaire. You can't say you're coming to that investment with 5,000 naira and you are aiming to bring 5 billion in one day or 1 month or 1 year. That's not the way it works. You understand? So that's how it came about. Okay, you know what? Let's have a session with the choir where we share some of these ideas that we have. I am giving you this thing now that the what I won't call it a disclaimer again. Just the notion that I don't know it all, right? So I'm also expecting to learn from this session. Feel free to suggest anything that you want to add, maybe observation, question. We'll discuss it. I'll probably also learn. But these are some of the things that I know, and I've done some extra research, things that we have access to, even as individuals, even in this economy that we are, that we can place our money and get some returns. We'll talk about a number of concepts: time value of money, compounding. We'll talk about inflation and what it means to the return that we're looking to get from our investments. Any questions so far? Is making sense? Let me see your hand. I'm not sure why that baby is crying. Let me see your hand. Okay, let's go on. All right, so time value of money. I'll ask questions again. What is time value of money? Let me start from here. I've heard of the term time value of money. Let me see your hand. I've never heard the term before. Time value of money. Okay. From the way it looks, I'm seeing it for the first time, but from the way it looks, I have an idea of what it could mean. Let me see your hand. You care to share? Any of the people that raised their hands last, you care to share? Don't worry, I won't force you. I don't know what it means, but from what I can see, yes, sir. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes. All right. Any other thoughts? Yes, sir. Thank you very much. In fact, you guys have not only okay, yes, sir. Thank you very much, all the contributors. You guys have actually defined time value of money in your own words. And, sir, you actually even added an extra item to it, which is uncertainty. We are getting to that when we start to discuss risk versus reward. But the uncertainty element even adds more to the concept of the time value of money. So, just to summarize what they've actually said, they are all on point. Time, be it a day, be it 2 days, 1 week, 1 month, it actually adds value to the money that you have in your hand right now. You have 1,000 at day one. Would you believe that 1,000 at day one is worth more to you than 1,000 at day 365? Do you agree? Or should I ask, does anybody here disagree? 1,000 naira in your hand right now is worth more to you or to anyone, but to you since you own it, than that same 1,000 naira 1 year later. Now, for many reasons. The reason why you would even be comparing 1,000 in your hand right now to 1,000 a year later is that probably you don't want to spend the 1,000 now, right? But do you know that 1,000 naira and the things that it can buy today, it's possible that 1,000 a year later will not be able to buy them. One of the reasons for that, all of us know it and we're even experiencing it at the moment, is inflation. But apart from that, the concept behind what they call interest, and we're getting into it small. You're remembering all those terms from mathematics that used to scare you. Interest. Have you ever asked yourself why they call it that name, interest? It's actually no different from actually the interest that we come across in English itself. What is the interest of somebody else in that money that is in your hand? You don't want to use it. It's 1,000 naira, but you're okay. You bought everything you need for the year. Let's assume. You don't want to spend that 1,000 naira right now. You want to spend it later. But somebody else needs the 1,000 naira now. So the person asks you, loan me that 1,000 naira. If you are the lending type, you go, okay, yeah. But when you pay me back in a year, you are going to pay me back with interest. I'll say it again. It's 1,000 naira in your hand. A year later, that 1,000 naira is going to be worth less to you because it might not even buy everything that you want to buy at that time. Things that you could have bought now with your 1,000 naira. But somebody comes to you and goes, lend me the 1,000 naira. I'll pay you back in a year. You say yes, but on one condition, you pay me back with interest. Why? Why interest? Because apart from the fact that you are performing a service, you are giving value. The value of that time, that 1 year, you're handing it over. You need to get paid for that value. There's also the inflationary effect that we have mentioned. You don't want to get your 1,000 naira back after doing somebody a favor, and you can't even buy what you would have been able to buy at the beginning of that year. You can't even buy it at the end of the year with the same 1,000 naira. So give me interest with the 1,000 naira. If it is 10% interest, how much would the 1,000 naira be at day 365? Chorus answer now. At 10% interest. If you said anything apart from one, let me see. It's all right. You've asked for interest on your money to make up for the time that you have left the money out of your own hand or that you have left the money unused. But make the comparison between earning 1 because you loaned somebody that money and you holding on to that money yourself. If you held on to the money, at the end of this day 365, you still have what? If you still have the 1,000 naira, it's even still good. But when it has already OTT has become dust. But let's even imagine it was still that 1,000 naira. That place that they stored that money, it wasn't the best place for them to have stored the money. Some people will be like, it's not as if they had the money all at once at the beginning of the period. It's over time. Another echo. But what if there are actually places where you could invest even those little sums of money? Now let's talk about inflation. we'll get to the point where we are looking at some of these instruments and we're actually measuring which one makes sense. We'll talk about risk versus reward. Has anyone here ever heard of the idea that money that you loan to the government is risk free? Right? Do you believe that when you loan money to the government, it's considered risk free? Risk free in the sense that you are sure of getting your money back with the interest that they promised. Do you believe it? I'm not talking about US, so I'm talking about Nigeria or any country. You guys don't trust your government. There's a lot to unpack in that. Indeed, money loan to the government is considered risk free. And for the sake of this discussion, we'll also adopt that assumption. But if we talk a little bit about that, there have actually been what they call sovereign defaults before. But we won't go too much into that. Money that you loan to government. When I say money loan to government, is when you buy things like treasury bills, government issued securities like FGN savings bonds. Any money loan to government is considered that's the lowest risk that you can take on with respect to investing your money. We'll see a host of all those securities, and that's the main thrust of what this session is about. What are the practical places where you can actually place money and earn a return? I am interested in hearing that. Let me see your hand. Okay, I'll take your word for it. All right. As I am of that mindset, let me see your hand. We said this is a series. We'll probably have another chapter in the series where we'll be talking about, okay, how can you even generate money? Or how can you increase what you're currently earning? This is going to be a long running series. You're interested in that one? I am too, actually. But the idea is, but do you believe the idea that no matter how much you actually earn, you can take a fraction of it and keep away for the future? Or, let me rephrase, do you believe that there's even any value in doing that? Have you ever thought of yourself in 25 years' time? Let's start with, let's say 10 years' time, or 20 years' time, 25, 30. Retirement at the age of 50, 60, 70. When you think of yourself that far into the future, what do you see? Do you see yourself? Do you feel like, yeah, that's me? Or is that somebody else, like a different person entirely? Don't worry, it's a rhetorical question, but think about it. Yourself in the future, 50 years' time, 70 years' time, if you're still alive. Is that still me? Should I be bothered about that person? Should I be concerned about that person? How would that person eat? What money would that person spend? We're talking about beyond retirement. So you are not actively working anywhere that anybody would give you money. How do you intend to get cash flow then? Think a little bit about that. If you agree that, yes, that's me in the future, so I feel like I'm responsible